Hey guys, welcome to Alabama Tractor Pickers. It's been a while since I've posted a video. Got this old Ford tractor. This is actually a 1950 Ford 8N, and it's been painted blue and gray. It used to originally be red and gray, but at some point it was painted blue. This old tractor has been sitting out in the woods at least for the last year, maybe longer, but it's, it hadn't been running, and we got it and brought it inside here, and we're gonna see what we can do to get this old tractor running. So it was left for dead, and let's see what we can do. The engine will turn over, I do know that. I've got a battery in it here that I had on a slow charge, so I'm going to unhook this battery, get that out of our way, and I've got some parts here. I'm prepared to go into the ignition system, the spark plugs if I have to. I've got a bowl gasket for the sediment bowl to clean that out. So we're going to see what we can do, see if we can get it running. First of all, we're going to check to see if we have spark, or if we actually have a battery. Get my tools over here. Okay, battery is good and hot. It's perfect. Next thing I'm going to do, got a test light here, just a standard 12-volt test light. We're going to see what kind of spark we've got, if we've got any at all. See, this particular tractor has a front mount distributor, which is the oldest version there is. There's two versions, side mount, front mount. This is the older version. It's a lot harder to get to in accessibility. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start this engine over. We're going to see if we have any kind of spark go into the points there. Make sure I've got the battery hooked up. All right, looks like we've got 12 volts, so that means the points are closed. Let's see if we get them to open. I didn't see them open and closing. All I could see is that they were closed. So looks like we're going to need to go into the distributor first of all, because without any kind of acceptable spark, it's not going to run. Okay, we've got our coil off, our ignition coil. And if you'll look, it's got this little copper tang right here, just a piece of wire basically. And that actually is going to make contact in the top of that distributor, and that's where your points get the voltage from the coil. And here's where your ignition wire hooks to the top right here that I just took loose. So in my kit, I've got a new gasket, and we'll replace all of that. So got that off. The next thing to remove now are the spark plug wires, 2 on each side. It's a 4-cylinder flathead. Once I do that, I can remove these 2 spring clips, and your distributor cap will come off. So I'm going to set the coil aside for right now. It is a good time to take note of your firing order. If you don't plan on removing the wires, you can either label them, and if they're old enough and they're stiff enough, they'll just stay right where they go. So a lot of times you don't have to worry about that. These wires look to be in decent shape. That one has a little bit of rubbing from that alternator belt. I think it'll be fine for what we're doing. And on this also, I'll mention on this distributor, I don't know if you can see it or not, but on top there, your condenser sits right there on top. So once I get it out, I'll show you in better detail. Okay, here's your distributor cap. It's dirty on the outside, but all in all, it doesn't look that bad on the inside. All your copper contacts look good. They look clean and bright, shiny, not corroded. Contacts on the inside for your plug wires are perfect. But I will mention the contact right here on top that the coil connects to. That does not look good at all. It's rusted, corroded. So I've got a brand new cap and I'll swap that out. All right, just be real careful and take that distributor out of there. Try not to move the engine or move anything. The points are corroded really badly. And we'll get all of that swapped out. Shouldn't be any problem. There's your condenser. It sits right on top. So it's not much to it. You just got to remove this one to be able to service it. And it's just more of a pain to get to. And which is probably why Ford changed the design of these engines and put it on the side later on. All right, now that we've got our distributor laid out, I got it cleaned up. Got it cleaned up really well and dried out. It was just full of dirt and grass and just built up over the years. And I was told that this stuff was replaced not too long ago. It was an attempt to get it running, or it was repaired somewhere. And whoever did the work just did a really poor job of doing it, because they just left it really dirty inside, and that doesn't help things when you're trying to get sparks. So let me get my parts in order here. Got oil filter after we get it running. All right, here I've got a tune-up kit. And I've got the new cap, and you can see on this one that contact right there is not corroded or rusted up. All of these are in perfect shape, as well as the inside where the plug wires go. So that new cap will go on last once the distributor's on. Here's the old gasket I pulled off of there. That's trash. So this is just a simple Tisco kit. Tune-up kit. It includes your points, your condenser, your rotor button, and a set of Autolite spark plugs. And it is for the Ford tractors 8N, 9N, 2N with a front mount distributor. So if you need parts, you can contact me. I can get you any parts you're needing. This is Tisco kit number 309786. So it's a really good comprehensive kit. There's your bowl gasket, sediment bowl gasket for the fuel. That doesn't come with it, but I got one just in case. And I stuck it in there. There's your new rotor button. New condenser will go right there in top. New set of points. Here's your gasket kit like I was talking about for the distributor and the coil. And then here's our set of spark plugs. All right. All right, first of all, we're going to take our condenser out. And I'm going to take this screwdriver and we're going to loosen this screw to disconnect it. Got to be real careful not to lose these screws or drop them. This is a forked terminal, so you don't have to take it all the way out. Then next, you just loosen the mounting screw for the condenser. And if you do lose the screws, I can get you those as well. A lot of people will drop them in the dirt or whatever, and then they're gone. This one you will have to take all the way out. These are actually, they're a standard slotted head screw, but when you buy them, it's actually an ignition screw because of the certain size of it, the length and the head. So it doesn't interfere with anything. So let me know if you need ignition screws. I've got them. Can get them for you. That way it's the right thing. So there's that old condenser. You can test them. A lot of people do, but it's honestly as cheap as they are. It's not worth it unless you were just in a pinch and are in bind. Something I didn't mention is your mechanism up under here, under this back plate. You can pull this lock ring out and take the plate out, clean all of that, but I turned the distributor. I noticed my points were opening and closing perfectly. There's no need to take all of that off and clean that. Everything seems to be working fine. Now your breaker points, they're held in here and here, and then you set your timing here. And you want to set your timing or your point gap on the on high-low. We've got that screw, the bottom, the top, or one on each end. That's your adjustment screw. I've also got this screw here, and then there's a small brass screw there that holds that in of the points. So I'm going to remove it. Next, you've got a small cotter pin right here that holds your points down where they rotate. You just need to pull that cotter pin out. There's a small washer behind it. Don't lose that. Okay. Now your points are free to come out. I've got this screw still in here, so let's be careful not to lose that. There's our points. Okay. And next, we need to pull the other half of the points out there. Just grab those, and then they're free to, you see where we loosen those screws? They're free to come out. Okay? Sit this down just for a second. We're going to look at these. You can see they're pitted badly on the edges. They're burnt and they're corroded. These would not even be a candidate to even try to dress up. It just wouldn't be worth the time. Even the rubbing blocks worn down some. So I'm not sure when they were replaced, if they ever were. The last time it was worked on. And if it was, they probably just filed them a little bit with sandpaper. We've got our old points, an old condenser, and we're ready to go back in with the new stuff. Doing this on a workbench, well-lit workbench, compared to the side of your truck is a totally different ballgame. Okay. Like I said, it's probably easier to take that plate out, but for these purposes, where I'm at, time I've got, I'm not gonna deal with it, especially since everything was moving and working just fine. I've got the screw started in there. I've just got to get it tightened down. I'm gonna get a different screwdriver. Just a little bit smaller. I may have a stubby screwdriver that I can use. We'll have to see how this does. Next, we're gonna put our 2 screws back in that hold the points breaker plate down. We'll leave them loose for now. That way we can set our point gap. Got my screws started. All of my points are in. I'm gonna go ahead and set my point gap. So what you'll do is you're gonna turn the distributor to where it's on high-low. Just watch it as you turn. When it's up on the high ridge there of that distributor shaft and your points are open, well, if you have to adjust them, they'll open. But let's get a point gauge, a feeler gauge, and look. You can always use a business card if you don't have one handy, a feeler gauge handy. A business card will get it to where it's close enough, get you running. Got a set of feeler gauges here. These are actually an angled set for checking valve tappet clearances. It'll work just fine for what we're doing. I've got a straight set and I have another angled set at home. It's just a set I bought to keep in my truck. It's right there. These do have oil on them to keep them from rusting, so kind of wipe them off a little bit. We don't want to get oil on our points, okay? So I've got this feeler gauge here. Like I said, this center screw, it's actually a Phillips screw. That's the one you will set the gap with. This is on high-low, I've checked it. Okay, that's actually pretty close. It's got some resistance. I like it. I'm gonna tighten it down just a little more, so I'm gonna close the gap just a little bit. Okay, that's about 1/8 of a turn. Let's check it again. Check it 2 or 3 times. Make sure everything's moved where it sets in where it needs to be. And I like that. So I'm gonna leave my gauge sitting in here, just like so, straight. I'm gonna tighten the bottom and the top screw down to hold them in place. Okay, take my gauge out. Just enough resistance. I like the way it feels. Let's do it one more time. Yep, that's perfect. And the screw that holds this one in is actually a special design screw for that terminal on the ignition coil. It's countersunk, but it's slotted also. For that terminal on the ignition coil to contact, so you want to make sure it's clean and bright and no corrosion or anything. Make sure it's that style screw so it will seat in properly. And if you need one of those, just let me know. So now we're going to put our condenser in, hoping it's going to go in easy. The hole is going to be a little tricky to line up. That's in, points are in, everything looks really good. Next, we're gonna put our gasket here on the back. We're gonna put this back on the tractor. I do want to mention one more thing. The distributor cap, I went ahead and put it on because we know where our rotor's positioned. I'm not gonna move it enough to mess that up. But I went ahead and put that on because once you get it on the front of the tractor and you're trying to pull these clips with this new gasket on, it could just be really tough to get it on. You do also have a lineup pin up here on the top behind the cap and make sure it just seats in the groove. So that's on. Your firing order is actually on the tractor. I mean, on on the distributor cap, 1, 2, 3, 4 is where these are marked. 1, 2, cylinder 1's front, 2, 3, 4, and then you just go by your firing order, hook it back up. But right now we're going to bolt this on. We'll put the coil on last. All right, here we go. We're going to try to start this tractor up. I actually found out, I was in a hurry the other night. It was dark and it was below freezing out here. My hands were cold. I was in a hurry. I rebuilt the distributor, all new parts. Actually, didn't check the distributor to make sure the points were actually making contact and were going to work. Didn't check that with my DVOM, and I should have. But I put it back on the tractor. We tried running it. It wouldn't start. Wasn't getting any fire. So I pulled the distributor back off, went inside the house a few nights later and looked at it. And my DVOM, my points weren't making contact like they should. So they were brand new, but they'd probably been on the shelf at the parts store for who knows how long. And they had corroded up. So I took a little bit of emery cloth, some I think it was 320 grit. I filed the points, cleaned them up with that emery cloth, and checked it with my DVOM, and you can turn the back of the rotor there, and it showed that it will work. So got the distributor back on. Battery's been on a trickle charge. We're going to turn the fuel on. Turn the fuel on, and we'll see if she'll fire off, and at least try to run. Let's see here. Hook my battery up. This will be the first start in several years. I'm not sure exactly how long it has been since it's ran, so let's see what it'll do. Give a little bit of start before we see if it'll do anything. Try this again. Feather the choke. trying to idle now. That could be engine smoke, honestly. I'll show you though, the lift works really good. Let's take her out of the barn and take her for a spin.